I play the tenor sax. I haven't always played the tenor sax. Like many of you, I started out on the alto saxophone. And then when I got to high school, I played that alto sax for years, by the way, all the way from fourth grade through high school. By the time I got to high school, though, I was big enough to manhandle the baritone saxophone. I could actually carry that thing in the marching band, the parade band, and not only that, I thought it was kind of cool. We had a jazz band, a big stage band as well, and I got to be in that band based on my skills with the baritone sax. So the bari sax opened a lot of doors for me. It's got a great sound, it looks kind of cool, and when I picked the saxophone up again years later, I went back to alto. I never could find my voice on alto. Played the baritone sax for years until the tenor sax kind of fell out of the sky and fell into my lap, so to speak. They do that, right? So the tenor sax that I play, you could consider it an off-brand. It's an Olds, O-L-D-S, and it's an olds. It's got a really old serial number. It's right here below my, you see that? Look at that old serial number. Now we checked out my sax tech and I, Jim Weiss. We took a look at the numbers. It's all on the neck as well. So that's the OG neck. We took a look at all the numbers available on the Olds website, and these numbers don't exist. They are so early in the game. So this bears no resemblance to the Olds tenor saxes that were made years later, the Olds Parisian model. Parisian, am I saying that right? Anyway, it kind of resembles a Martin. So maybe Martin built, I mean, the tone holes and all that, but that's more than we want to get into in this lesson. The story really is about how this particular saxophone came into my life. Olds Ambassador. Can you see that? Isn't that cool? And I know it's you know, Jim figures maybe it's 60s. By the way, that's my DIY pad, thumb rest pad. Maybe this horn is 60 years, 70 years old, somewhere in that ballpark. Anyway, the horn came to me as payment. I was teaching part-time at a music store in my hometown here of La Mesa, and I was teaching, and for one reason or another, the horn was offered to me as payment, and that was a really cool old music store, fine old family name. It had been there for years, and as such had accumulated piles and piles of these sort of old, funky, cool instruments, right? So I said, yeah, I took it home, tried it out, and somebody invited me to a recording session. Yeah, if memory serves right. It was maybe I'd had this horn for a week or 2 weeks, and I said, yeah, I'll go. Now, just so you know, I have red light fever, which means in the recording industry, when the red light goes on, I kind of clam up when I get nervous. True enough. Recording is not my forte. My main place in life is on the stage. Live, I'm your guy. Recording, you better call somebody else. Anyway, I went to this session anyway, and I've got this new tenor sax here, new to me, that I have not played. I've actually not played it very much. And you know, I could not get it to sound. I could not play a solo to save my life. It's a country music session too. I didn't know that. So I'm in the middle of this country session. They want a sax solo in this country song, and I'm stinking the joint up, right? And the engineer's running out of the room. You know, this is all the way up in Escondido, maybe at midnight, late at night. That's a long way from La Mesa. So I'm tired, I'm kind of crabby. And he runs out of the room with his little thing and he goes, you're sharp, your sound is sharp, you need to get it in tune. I couldn't pull the mouthpiece out far enough in the chord to get it in tune. Well, I went home. I felt bad. Of course I did. But I went home and there were, more stories like this to follow. And I began to think maybe this horn was jinxed. So there was a name felt pinned to the outside of the horn case. I just randomly called the number and said, did you leave your horn at this particular music station? Music store. I will not name the name of that store. because the owner, I think, was kind of maybe sloppy in his paperwork. And there were lots of occasions in the past when horns would be dropped off for repair, and they would end up being rented out, or they would be put on consignment and sold, and the owner would never be reimbursed. So I thought, well, maybe that's what's happening. Maybe there's some bad karma on this tenor sax. Called the guy. He said, "Yeah, it's my horn." "No, I never got paid for it." And I said, "Well, how about if I just bring it to you?" And he said, "No, just take it back to the store." So I did. I had another tenor sax, and I'm playing that sax, and it feels like it's my voice, and I kind of like it. It's also a used tenor sax, an older horn, an off-brand, and I'm liking the sound of the tenor sax as opposed to the alto. I could just never find my voice on the alto sax, and I'm finding a little bit, that maybe there's a little bit more work for me on the tenor sax in terms of being able to play in bands and be expressive and communicate ideas and all that. So I'm still teaching at this music store, and a couple of weeks later, a teenager comes in, and he has been rented this very same horn. He's got this horn, and he's in the band, his high school band, I think, out in El Cajon. And he just struggled like crazy, just like I did with this horn. Out of tune, couldn't make it work. On and on and on and on. Finally, the kid quits. He doesn't. No, wait a minute. Before he quits, I give him my horn. And the owner of the store gives me this horn back and says, "I paid for it. It's yours. Please keep it." Enough. So I take the horn home and I do the work that I should have done initially. Long tones to a tuner, tune to a piano, all that sort of thing. And I eventually learned how to blow into this horn and how to play this particular horn, this Olds Ambassador, right? And now, as, let's see, I must have had this horn, oh gosh, for 8 years. And I've put thousands of hours of playing time into this horn. We've had it, refurbished a couple of times. Jim has done a number of just setting the key heights and bumpers and pads and all that bit. If you want his contact number, by the way, send me an email. Email me. That's the best way to reach me. davegoodsax@gmail.com. I'll give you that one more time before we finish today. But anyway, that's the horn. Now, the point of all this long and rambling story, the horn that came to me, went away, came back to me, and now is my horn. I've played this horn professionally. I've played this horn, and I'm not going to give it up. Would I get a new horn someday? No, I will just get this horn redone. Jim and I both love this horn. There's something about it that's just absolutely wonderful, and it works for me. The point of all this is that it doesn't matter what brand name is on your horn. As long as your horn is in good working condition, it's got good pads, doesn't leak, good key heights, on and on and on. It's been seen by a technician, and it plays. It's a player, right? As long as it does all that, it doesn't matter. There are so many theories about you should have this kind of horn or you should have that kind of horn, and it just doesn't matter. So by the end of the day, the message I want you to take out of this recording today, my YouTube class for today. And if you get anything out of this, hit that love button for me. Would you subscribe if you like more of these mini master classes in this sort of one-on-one style? It's just me and you, and that's all that matters. But the point of all this is just play. Just play what you got. Really, just play what you have. Your tone will get better. Your fingering will get better. Everything will improve. You don't have to have it's cool to have one, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't have a top-of-the-line tenor sax if that's your goal. But if you don't have one, don't feel bad. Don't sit there and think, I can't play. I'm sure I can't be. If I just had one of those, I'd be better. No, if you played more, you'd be better. Think about that for a minute. Well, you go and grab your sax right now and rip through some anything but scales. Play a song. Have fun. All right. Once again, my email, davegoodsax, all one word, davegoodsax@gmail.com. If there's any ideas for future mini master classes that you'd like to have, any ideas that you'd like to share, any questions that you have, or if you want me to put you in contact with Jim Weiss here in San Diego, who's a marvelous woodwinds tech. Anyway, thanks for listening. Take care and go play. Whatever you got, go play it.